This month, Nashville's first and oldest television station turned 75. There was a time in this town when local TV dabbled in its own homemade entertainment programming. The early days had the noon show, afternoon cartoon reels, late-night creature features, even a local bozo, not to mention the music offerings that went national like Porter Wagner, the Sylvan Brothers, and on Channel 5, Hee Haw. Decades later, when local offerings were dwindling, the brave management at Channel 4 tried it again, with their own weekly version of MTV called Miscellanea and an irreverent Saturday night sketch comedy show called Cuts. Cuts actually had the guts to follow Saturday Night Live, and some fans will tell you it often got just as many laughs, thanks to master mimic and character comedian Shane Caldwell.
We didn't really know what we were doing, but we wound up having a lot of fun, and we did things that at the time Channel 4 slogan was "We're for the family." Well, we weren't.
Shane got his start where you might expect, cracking up his classmates, then the ragtag floor crew at Community Access. It will become instantly obvious that Shane and I are old friends. I promise I've tried to limit the inside jokes and pry some information out from between my snickering.
I don't want to cause no trouble in the kitchen. I don't want to do no special order. I just take the fries and
He eating them like he was going to the electric chair,
I'm Demetria Kalodimos, and it's Banner and Company. Shane Caldwell, it's been too long.
Demetria, I want to tell you what an honor it is to be here. I was planning on honoring you by wearing an item of clothing from the French shop, but they didn't have a smart pantsuit in my size, so I'm wearing a rather appropriate T-shirt.
And you're doing the voice of a mutual friend who has passed along. But thank you for that. I always like to get a little touch of Larry when I meet with you.
Papa.
You are a proud son of Savannah, Tennessee. Tell us more about this charming place.
You know what? It is charming. There's no other place I've ever been to like it. It has a lot of the qualities of any small southern town, but it has many unique qualities. It's the fishing worm capital of the world. In fact, when I was growing up, there was only one radio station, WORM, 1010 on your radio dial, The Worm, and it's still there. And that was, the only real outside information and news we got. I mean, we were close to Jackson, Tennessee, and I think you, as a newscaster, probably know WBBJ is the worst affiliate in the country. We had the anchors, one of them, and I'm sorry to say, that had a serious speech impediment. And it was, that's how you got your news. Savannah also had Hughes's Worm Ranch, which was right across from my elementary school, and it had these really inappropriate billboards out front. So I went from grades 1 through 5. I'm looking out the window every day at these really racy billboards, and then across the street is a church, which is appropriate to be across from Hughes's Worm Ranch. But there were a lot of characters in that town, and they weren't homeless. There was no homelessness in Savannah. Everybody had a place to live, but these people just wandered around, and they would wander into businesses and disrupt whatever was going on, not in an aggressive way, but in an entertaining way. I used to get my hair cut at Grady Wolf's Style Shop, and a guy named Sam Duncan, who picked up Coke bottles to return, for a dime. And but he then when they switched to them aluminum cans, he picked him up, but he wouldn't pick up no beer cans because it might keep him from getting his mansion in glory. But he would come in and do a routine pretty much, and it was you're being entertained while you're getting your hair cut. So many characters like that, and I kind of took them with me when I moved to Nashville.
Definitely. Isn't that Buford Pusser walking tall country, or am I thinking of a different county?
It's the right across the river. That's in McNairy County. Buford was from Adamsville, and Selmer is the county seat. It's funny you should mention that because about 2 weeks ago, I sold my autographed Buford Pusser stick to a guy who's got a museum in Memphis. Buford signed it. I was 13 years old. He signed it in 1973 out in front of the Piggly Wiggly, Riddle's Piggly Wiggly in Savannah. He was doing a promotional tour for the movie, and I sold it 2 days before the news came out that he may have been, the one who
killed his wife
and shot himself. And I met him in 1968. They had a barbecue for him at a friend of my parents' house. And my dad knew him, and he had just gotten out of the hospital. And he was a giant. And
walking tall, of course.
He had a crew cut, and the plastic surgery was not the art it is now. And I was 8, and I looked up at him, and I thought he was Frankenstein.
Really?
Nice. He was nice to me, but a lot of people in McNairy County weren't fans. I always thought he was a great hero. I bought the whole story, and
you bought the stick too. Did it bring big money when you did sell it?
It brought more than I thought. Yeah, because I also sold it with a book that's been out of print forever called The 12th of August, which was the day his wife was killed, and another book about the Dixie Mafia. And the guy didn't care anything about the books. He took them, but he wanted the stick.
Yeah. Knowing your brother Corey as well, I can only imagine what the Caldwell house was like growing up. Where did this rich knowledge of showbiz and this performance art come from?
Well, my mom and dad were both performers. My mom sang, and she was the Irish queen at Austin Peay where they met. And my dad was an actor. He was an artist. He was a great painter, but he was also an actor. And he was asked to come to the Barter Theater in Abington, Virginia, which at the time was the largest off-Broadway theater in the country. Actors would go there and work on a role before they went to Broadway. Gregory Peck came through there when my dad was there, and but he was in a class with probably the most notable actor was Ned Beatty, and other guys you would know their faces, maybe not their name: Mitchell Ryan, Graham Jarvis, Dolph Sweet. You've seen them; they're great character actors. But my dad was plucked out of an acting class at Austin Peay to play Will Stockdale in their production of No Time for Sergeants. And he was told by the director of the theater, if you go to New York and get your job painting signs or whatever you need to do to survive, he goes, I can almost guarantee you in 10 years, you'll be a success. And my dad was young and a country boy, and he thought 10 years is a long time. Yeah. And the guy said, almost. And I think there was a fear when I shared it, when I thought I wanted to be a performer. There was fear of going there and being, a nobody from the South, a little town in the South, and that's why he didn't do it. And I don't know if he regretted it. He talked about it a lot.
Do you think he could have made it?
Yeah, I do. He would. I got all that from him, and I think he could have.
Caldwell is a well-known big money Nashville name. No relation, I'm taking it?
Absolutely none. I wish. Maybe I can. Maybe they'll hear this and go, maybe he's a
Long lost cousin Shane.
Yes, we should slide a little dough his way. And I'm not related to any Erskine Caldwell or any of the authors. No, my dad was born in Dixon, and then they moved to Clarksville, and that's where he grew up.
Your first TV appearance, am I correct? It was on Nob Hill?
Yes, it was.
Tell me about it.
Every year, as a reward for writing the high school newspaper, the Tiger Tales, we were the Savannah Central Tigers, and Tales, of course, Tales, yes. Oh, quite witty. They rewarded us by loading us up on a yellow dog and coming to Nashville, and we were on the noon show. And my best friend, Robert Hinton, was the editor. I wrote comedy bits. I never did anything serious on the paper. And he was going to talk to the host, who was Teddy Bart, well known. The noon show was almost as much of a staple as the Ralph Emery show.
Oh, yeah.
And it had been running forever. And they had a little garden set. Well, they seated Robert and me at the table that was the point, right on camera the whole time. And when Teddy would go, it was halfway through the show, he would go interview people in the audience, and if they had community news, people with birthdays, people with anniversaries, and he would have a pack of envelopes that were most of them were dinner for two at Jack Favier's Silver Wings restaurant. Yeah, and and he also had from Phillips Toy Mart a pack of Rook cards. I watched that show all my life. I never saw anybody take those Rook cards. So Teddy comes over, and the last person he interviews is my buddy Robert. He goes, and finally, the Tiger Tail staff from Savannah, Tennessee is here, and Robert Hinton is the editor. And he interviewed him, and Robert told him everything about the paper, including what kind of ink we used. And then that bastard, he hung me out to dry. He goes, and my good buddy Shane Caldwell's going to tell you more about it. And I just went, what? And Teddy goes, tell us about it, Shank. And I said, about what? I wasn't listening. And he goes, tell us about it. And he kept the mic in my face, and he wasn't letting it go. And I, saw those Rook cards, and I just went, I like to play Rook. And for some reason, he hands me the cards. And for some reason, the audience, and worse, the band, thought it was very funny. And they started laughing at Teddy. Everybody's laughing. He is steaming. He goes over to Joe Lane, the piano player, and says, me and my good buddy Joe Lane will be back in just a moment. And he pushes Joe Lane's head into the keyboards. And I was like, wow, I didn't realize I had,
touched a nerve.
Yes. And so after we come back for the break, and he's, like I said, he's steaming. He always sang.
Listen, Teddy was a fantastic piano bar player and singer.
Yes. Yeah. Well, he should have picked another position to sing from, because he's standing right in front of our table. And I was like, at that point I was going, this guy, what's he mad about? I'll give him something to really be mad about. During his whole song, which was The Very Thought of You, which was written by Steve Allen and recorded by Nat King Cole. Teddy, God bless you, but Nat did it a little better. Anyway, I took those Rook cards and was holding them up behind his head through the whole show. I'd move them around from side to side. And at the end of the show, he bolted. I think I saw literally steam coming out of his ears, and the last shot of the show was on me holding up those rook cards with the noon show logo and my eyes between the zeros.
It's Banner and Company. I'm Demetria Kalodimos, and we'll be right back. When we launched Banner and Company more than a year ago, we wanted to help you get to know your Nashville neighbors. One of the best ways to know a neighborhood is to tap into the experience of a realtor or two who really know the city and the region. Richard Courtney and Lisa Peebles are a pair to draw to, as they say. Kind of like matchmakers, they have the experience and relationships to connect you with people and homes that best serve your personality and your lifestyle. And with more than $1 billion sold, you can bet you'll be in good company. To connect with Richard Courtney and Lisa Peebles, visit NashvilleLuxuryEstates.com. You got your sketch comedy start, though, on Community Access, right?
Yeah.
You and Howard Fox,
Yes.
the Sylvan Brothers.
Yes. Howard and I were bartenders at the Bennigan's, which was frequented by a lot of
Yes,
Nob
indeed.
Hill employees. Three or four of us, all bartenders, lived in a beat-up old house in Sylvan Park. This is long before it became the real estate hotspot it is now, and it just a dump. And we would watch public access in an altered state usually, and because it was crazy. And there was a comedy show on once, and it was just awful. And we said, yeah, we can do that. And I didn't know, but Howard went down and signed us up. And so I was like, oh, well, I guess I better come up with something to do. And that's how Sylvan Brothers started, just as a kind of a goof. Howard had worked some in production as a grip, but he eventually became, a full-time production. But at that time, he was trying to break into it, so he's still bartending. And we got a lot of, I won't mention their names because I don't want to sully their reputations, but we had professionals as our crew, and you could do anything you wanted back then, and we did.
And how quick did people catch on? Because it really did catch on.
The first show was really dumb. We ended the show, I'm a huge Tom Waits fan, and we thought we'd do a little commentary. And so we did a 7-minute version of On the Nickel, which is about homeless guys in L.A. I was dressed up like Lou Reed, and I sat down. Howard was a homeless guy who had newspapers for a blanket, and he's just laying there, and I'm singing this song. There's nothing happening except, my pathetic Tom Waits impression, and it was so dumb. We realized, let's not do the social commentary. Let's just be stupid. And the second show was funny, and the second show was the first time I did Bill Anderson, and it was he was doing a PSA for the Buddies of Nashville, and he stops and he's angry that he didn't get invited to the American Music Awards, which had happened a couple of nights ago before, and it was just him doing a rant, and that kind of started it, because after that we rarely did a show where we didn't do a parody of either Ralph Emery's Nashville Now show or his morning show on Channel 4. And Howard was Ralph, who was brilliant as Ralph, and I played all the other guests, and usually I was Bill Anderson as the last guest, and he would go off on a rant. And,
Bill Anderson, whispering angry was just a theme throughout, wasn't it?
Yes, yes. And, you know, his band used to take it on the bus and hide it from him. And, you know, he saw a couple of things. And I remember they told me, he goes, I don't know what them boys are doing, but let me tell you something. If they go too far, I'll stick my lawyers on them. Which he did once.
Was he still a purveyor of po folks at the time?
Yes. Yes.
Which was right down the street, by the way.
We used to do a running gag about getting a big glass of po folks tea, and you know, it was just, I grew up listening to him. He was on The Worm in Savannah all the time, and my dad would do an impression of him, so I'm going to do an impression of him, and it was just, you know, it was kind of a natural thing to do on the Sylvan Brothers. But we did a lot of parodies of country music, and we loved the Andy Griffith Show, did parodies of the Andy Griffith Show. It was always anything we satirized or anything that was a parody was something we liked.
Sure.
We did some things that were, you know, you couldn't do on television. You could do it on public access because, hey, free speech. And we went a little too far sometimes, but we never were mean.
This message brought to you by the Redstone Drug Rehabilitation Center, reminding you to just say nope to dope.
If there's a signature character for Shane Caldwell, like it or not, it would have to be the rehab guy.
You may not be able to tell it now, but there's a time in my life when I was down so low, a mosquito wouldn't even bite me. I lost my job, my four-wheel drive. I even got thrown out of my trailer. All because of one thing, freebasing cocaine. I got in a rehab program down there at Redstone Arsenal, down there in Alabama, and with them people helping me, well, that smoky white devil is no longer a part of my life. And I can proudly say that today, I do not freebase cocaine. Now, I'll take a drink now. I will take a drink, but I do not freebase cocaine. I don't touch it. Unless it's my birthday, something, man, a special occasion, I'll get out that pipe and I'll base. I won't freebase cocaine if I'm...
If nothing else, that will probably follow you for the rest of your days as your signature piece.
Oh, without a doubt. Amy Sedaris posted it recently, and then Jenna Fisher from The Office posted it, and I was like, okay, well, they got chops. They're for real, you know. So if they like it, hey, I get it. There's something to it. But yeah, it won't be on my tombstone because I'm being cremated, but I guess it'll be on my urn. But yeah, that's going to follow me.
There were two really sort of brave and groundbreaking things that happened at Channel 4. Miscellanea was with Mike Bohan and Mike Donegan.
Yes.
Was the first sort of local live music video show, very hip, late night. And then the masterpiece, Cuts.
Rich Sublett, the producer, had been given that time slot, and
Do something with it.
Yeah. Yes. And he was a fan of Miscellanea, and he was also a Sylvan Brothers fan. He came to watch a taping once, and before we did Cuts, he hired me to be in the most ridiculous used car commercial that's ever been shot in Nashville. And when he got the opportunity to do Cuts, he asked me to do it. And I, of course, said yeah, because, you know, I grew up watching Channel 4. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I'll do it. And we didn't really know what we were doing, you know, but we wound up having a lot of fun. And we did things that at the time Channel 4's slogan was "We're for the family." Well, we weren't. And but we had, because of the Sylvan Brothers being bus fodder, so many musicians, touring musicians, saw it and were fans.
Yeah,
and
they needed something to watch
Yeah.
on these long road trips.
Yeah.
This is prior to any sort of social media. That was the
yeah.
entertainment.
Yeah, and so we became popular on those buses, and we got I got to be friends with a lot of them, and they would come on the show. And the very first show, the pilot, Vince Gill did it, and he had just rocketed to stardom with When I Call Your Name. In fact, he did that on the show. But we'd always do a sketch with them, and then they would perform. And that was the best part of the show. I mean, we had some great guests on that. Emmy Lou did it, Steve Warner, my friend Webb Wilder. And Webb is going to put on a show wherever he he is all about presentation. He was so great, and one of my favorite female singers, Cheryl Wheeler, was on there, and you get to meet people and have them be a part of your show, people that you admired and were fans of. That was the best part of the show. And working with Rich, I mean, we did some stuff that was a lot of fun, and there's a couple of sketches in particular. The Jimmy Dean stuff, which was based on things that really happened here in Nashville at a commercial shoot.
Jimmy Dean sausage, I Remember Daddy, take 4.
Well, when I started making sausage of my own, all I had to do was shut my eyes and remember Daddy squeezing his sausage. Holy fire! Damn, could we have a little more noise around here? Damn, you right, you sorry, every one of you. You had my, don't touch, son!
Just checking the mic here.
I got something for
Anything
you.
we satirized or anything that was a parody was something we liked. And we went a little too far sometimes, but we never were mean. And I think that, that was part of its weird, perverse charm, is that we would do some things that might be, edgy, but we didn't do it with a mean spirit. And maybe trying to rationalize some of the awful stuff we did.
It's Banner and Company. I'm Demetria Kalodimos, and my guest is Shane Caldwell, who many say should have ended up on Saturday Night Live. We'll be right back. We're going to roll a little bit long here, but I got to ask you about Dusty Rhodes, and I've got to ask you about, well, you just talked about Sedaris and Jenna Fisher, and everyone knows who you are. How come Lorne never come calling?
I met Lorne Michaels in an elevator at 30 Rock. Rich and I were invited to...
Did he recognize you?
No. I recognized him. We were going. It was when Fallon had taken over the late night from Conan, and I turned to Rich. I said, "I guess we're going the right place." And Lorne goes, "Where are you going?" I said, "Fallon." He goes, "You're going the right place." And I went, "No, I guess you'd know." And he went, "Ha," So at least I got a chuckle out of him. But my status as a cult failure is pretty solid. Yeah, I've somebody, Monty Hitchcock, who was Emmy Lou's road manager, called me and said Bob Dylan quoted you on stage last night, and there's no record of it, but I don't think he called me up just to screw with me, and so that kind of stuff. That's I never had a burning passion for it, and I was always afraid that they in L.A. and New York they knew something I didn't know, and they did that. There's nothing to be afraid of. There's a producer told me, after I had gone to Los Angeles and realized they don't know anything, there's a book called Adventures in Screenwriting that the guy who wrote Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, William Goldman, and Princess Bride wrote, in the first page, it has this sentence, and it's in bold type, it's separated. No one knows anything. And he prints it again. He goes, I'm going to write that again because I want you to know. No one knows anything. You're only a genius after the fact. Everybody's afraid. Just some people are better at, covering it up. And that's what kept me from moving to another town where maybe I could have done something. I don't know. But there was the fear that kept me from it, from actually pursuing it. And until I got so old, I was like, well, let's not beat this dead horse too much. But you asked about Dusty Rhodes. I picked him up at the airport, and the first time I met him, and of course I grew up watching him, and by the time we got to the hotel to meet the crew, he goes up to the executive producer and said, "Where'd you find this man? I feel like I know this some bitch all my life." And we were great friends forever until he passed, and I learned more about TV from that guy than anybody. He was a great friend. He always encouraged me. And when we were doing the show, I became his sidekick, but early on I wrote for him, and we would do a lot of running and gunning and riding on on the go, and so doing things on the fly. And I just, to get into his character, I would do him to him until he finally went, "Stop talking like me." But I miss him so much. I just for my own enjoyment, sometimes I'll just go do one of his, he was so great on the mic. And he, I wined and dined with kings and queens and slept in alleys and eat pork and beans. I've got style and grace and a pretty face. I make your back crack, your liver quiver. When all the rest is in the back laughing and joking, the Meccan dream is out front, cooking and smoking, baby, if you will. And it's just, there's no one like him, and I miss that guy so much. He was great, and I got to work with him, and I've gotten to work with a lot of people that I really admired, and he sure was one of them, and he was just one of a kind. It's just, I miss him all the time. I talked to him about 2 weeks before he passed, and he never let on that he was sick.
Really?
Ever. And I would see him, he was still on wrestling. And, he'd lost a bunch of weight. And I remember his daughters used to get on him to lose weight. And I thought, well, maybe he finally listened to him. And no, he was sick. And I should have known that, because when we'd go out to eat, he always would go, the waitress would ask for our orders, then he'd go, "Hey, you got a grilled chicken sandwich on there somewhere?" "Yes, we do." Give me one of them." "Would you like fries with it?" "Oh, no. Well, if it come with it." "Yeah." And it does. "Yeah, okay." And when they would leave, he'd go, "I don't want to cause no trouble in the kitchen. I don't want to do no special order. I just take the fries." And of course, he'd be eating them like he was going to the electric chair, But one of my favorite people in the world. But I've gotten, Vince Gill, Steve Warner, Jeff Foxworthy, who I've worked with a bunch of times, are friends. And Emmy and so many people. One of my dear friends, Allison Krauss, I met because we did a comedy show together, and she had known the Sylvan Brothers, and so I Trace Atkins. I'm surprised at who's seen it. And I'm really lucky. I'm about to, now that I'm no longer working at CMT and I'm entering my dotage. I'm now a Medicare recipient, and thank you, and on Social Security. But I'm actually going to start doing comedy again with my cousin Jenny Littleton, who's Nashville royalty.
Absolutely, I had no idea you guys were related.
Nobody would think I would be related to someone so talented and kind and sweet. But we're going to finally do something together. And I'll just be trying to keep up, because you've seen Doyle and Debbie.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
So will this be a Doyle and Debbie send-up or something completely different?
We are trying to figure that out. I always wanted to do a rehab guy film or web series, and I always wanted her to play my wife. And I wanted her to be the loud one. It would be the rehab guy 30 years later, and he's still, the only thing he had in his life was that PSA. And it was just, I've written so many lines for her that I'm just like, I might want to have a couple for myself.
Yeah.
But she's great, and so I'll just be riding her coattails.
Banner and Company is a production of the New Nashville Banner. This episode is produced by Steve Haruch and edited by me. The original music is by Verlin Thompson. You can subscribe wherever you get your podcasts or go to NashvilleBanner.com. You're in good company. I want to do part 2 because we didn't get to so much, but until then, the final question is in the fishbowl.
Oh, really?
If you're a regular listener to Banner and Company, you know this, but it's your choice.
You've had some of my friends on here, and I was a little nervous. So this is from Aaron Gray. What is your best advice?
It's for someone to find themselves where you find yourself today.
Seek therapy. Get help.